This video is to demonstrate how peer reviewers can use CARS to add their comments to documents currently being drafted. You'll get some login details and a link to CARS. When you first log in, you'll be asked to change your password. Now, important thing to note is that you need to use Firefox or Chrome to use CARS and not Internet Explorer. Unfortunately, Internet Explorer is an old-fashioned browser and CARS doesn't support it. You'll be presented with a screen that looks like this. There'll be a list of documents that you have that the document authors and owners have made available to you. On my screen, we're going to open up this first one, demo document MDD. So to open it, I'm just going to click on it. There are then four main areas to the screen to draw your attention to. Across the top, we have what's called a breadcrumb pane. So if you want to go back to the document list, you can click on Documents. If you have any feedback for us, at the top right, there's a little button here that says Got Feedback. On the left-hand side, this is our navigation pane. This is how you'll find your way around the different sections of the document. In the centre, we have the document itself. In this case, this is the information about the document information section. This page will be used to automatically generate the title page of the document, as well as for managing who can view or edit the document itself. So don't worry if the document that you see in CARS doesn't look like something that will be published. The automatic typesetting will happen after these technical authoring reviews have been complete. So if I scroll down this centre part of the page, you'll see this is where authors will enter revision information, summary information, etc. It's also where we can see who the document owner is, who the authors are, and who the reviewers and peer reviewers are as well. So this video is just for our peer reviewers. You'll see on this screen that we also have someone called reviewers. What's the difference? So a peer reviewer is able to see the live document as it's being edited. So if, for example, one of my authors is currently in the document in section 1 making changes, if I also open section 1, I'll be able to see the changes that my author is making as they make them. This makes it much easier for us to work in a collaborative way and removes the need for a lot of the email tennis that we all know and dislike. So to navigate to one of the sections, let's choose section 1, Prohibited Statements. I'm just going to go over to this navigation bar on the left and click on Prohibited Statements. So what we'll see, the first thing I want to be able to do is add a comment to one of the sections. So to do that, I just need to click into the section I'd like to, the clause that I'd like to add a comment to. So let's say this note here, where it says this is a new requirement, this shall be done. To add a discussion, I go to the right-hand side, and you see those little, look like a chat logo here. If I hover over it, it will say discussions. If I click on that, I've now got the option to start a new discussion. So I can say the wording for this uses wrong verb form, for example. This may be a general, an editorial, or a technical change. I can categorise it in one of these ways. To just submit it, I just click on the Submit button. You'll see that a couple of things have now happened. Next to the clause on the right-hand side, a little 1 has appeared. And that tells me that there's one unresolved discussion on this clause. You'll see that these ones already exist against other clauses. That may mean that somebody else has already commented on these clauses. I'm able to see that discussion that they've raised and contribute to it too if I like. So let's open up the discussion that's been raised on clause 1.5. To do that, I just click on the icon itself. You'll see that Hugh Supplier on the 18th of January made a comment that says, I do not agree, and they've said that this is a technical comment. Now I'm able to make a comment on this by just clicking on this comment button. The other thing that I'm able to do, or not able to do, is worth pointing out, is that if you decide that you've made a mistake, a typo, or you've suddenly realise that you've misunderstood what they've said, or you want to change what your comment reads, you're not actually able to edit your comments. The only option you have is to delete them. Now, because this is one that I've raised, I'm logged in as Hugh Supplier at the moment, I'm able to click delete. Now, you're only able to do that up to the point that somebody else has replied to it. So if someone else, or even myself, has logged in and made a comment to reply, just say comment correct and click submit, you'll see that that delete option has now disappeared. Now, one of the things that the authoring team will do is they will work their way through your comments and they will resolve them in some way. For them to resolve your comments, the authoring team can see them as soon as they've been submitted to CARS, is they will click on this resolve button and they will type their resolution in. So for example, they might say, no changes are made due to the latest research, for example. What happens when I click resolve is we'll see that the little one that was previously here next to the clause has now disappeared. Now if I want to see that clause, it's not been deleted. At the top right of the screen, we see that there's two tabs here, one for unresolved and one for resolved. And I can see that the discussion that I previously raised is still there. Now let's say, for example, I want to suggest some changes to the actual text in the requirement. Now if it's very long, what I don't really want to do is type out the whole sentence and say, well, I think that this word should be that word, because ultimately the authoring team is going to have to do all that typing again for you as well. So how do we make this change? So if we click into the clause we're interested in, and let's say, for example, I don't like the word shall. I think the word shall should be a must. To make a suggested change, what I'll need to do, I'm just looking in the resolved comments at the moment, I'm just going to need to click back to unresolved. I'll see that I've got an option to start a new discussion. So I want to say the wrong verb form has been used. There's a box here that says include suggestion. Now it's currently greyed out. The reason it's greyed out is that I haven't told CARS which text in the document I want to include a suggestion to replace. So to do that, I just move over to the cursor over to the Word document and just highlight the words that I'd like to change. And you'll see that that's now blacked out. If I can click on this box, the checkbox there, it gives me the current value of shall, and I can suggest instead must. Okay, so that's then immediately available to the authoring team to see. Now say, for example, you're looking in a section and there's many comments by multiple different people. It can be a little bit cumbersome to have to click inside each individual section to see what's there, particularly if there's lots of resolved comments, because it may not be clear in this view what the resolved comments are. If you want to see everything all at once for a section, you have the ability to do this using the section menu. So over here on the left hand side in our navigation pane, you see three little dots next to each section title. If I click on that, you've got an option to look at discussions and comments. What this will do is put together a table of this section with all the clause content down the left hand side and all of the discussions that have been added within CARS on the right hand side. You can filter them by what is unresolved currently, what's been resolved, or what's been raised by me, and also by the version of the document that's been released to TPB, for example. Okay, so just to recap, you can navigate around the document by using this document information pane. To add a discussion, click inside the clause that you want to add your discussion comment to. Click on the right hand side to open up the discussion pane and click Start a New Discussion. Thank you very much.